Hello, this is Geoff with In-Depth Studies. Today we're in Romans chapter 3, verses 25 and 26. And we should say, as far as context, that beginning with Romans 3:21 through the end of chapter 5, the Apostle Paul is addressing the issue of justification. That is, how do we get accepted by God? Of course, the answer is through the cross. But let me read verses 25 and 26. Paul says this: God presented Christ as a sacrifice of atonement through the shedding of his blood to be received by faith. He did this to demonstrate his righteousness because in his forbearance he had left the sins committed beforehand unpunished. He did it to demonstrate his righteousness at the present time so as to be just and the one who justifies those who have faith in Jesus Christ. I want to focus on, in this passage, the phrase, he left the sins committed beforehand unpunished. What does that refer to? Well, that refers to believers before the cross. And we'll use David as an example of that, he's in chapter 4 of Romans, it states quite clearly he had his sins forgiven, and he was a man after God's own heart. But those who were granted saving faith before the cross were saved on the basis of the cross to come. Sort of like the credit card analogy. They received the benefits of the cross before the cross actually took place. But even though David received forgiveness of sins before the cross had to take place in space and time, in a certain historical point, which of course it did. But this passage describes that the only way, of course, that you can have your sins paid for is through the death of Jesus on the cross, which they call his sacrifice of atonement. So if this has been helpful, you can check out more of Geoff's thoughts on youtube.com, and there you can subscribe to it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.